What can I say? I merely played the kind role of giving that undeserving Nora a chance to get things right. All she had to do was get the payments, and we'd be done with this. She'd get her IOU back, and I'd get to live on with my happy, merry life. What can I say? Life had more in store for me. Of all the people who could have been promoted over me, it was him, Nora's husband. The man has too much pride to hire someone like me. He'd no sooner hire a pauper off the streets than have someone working against him. He's too proud of a man to be seen with an individual like me. If only Nora hadn't received that loan from me. I didn't have to accept that signature. Her father was dead a couple of days before she had given it to me. There would have been no guilt in it, because it was only my reputation that could have been harmed at giving her that. Torvald would have died, and maybe I would have still had my position at the bank. I knew my position was in danger when I saw Torvald walking down the street with that woman. And of all the days to receive this horrible news, it's the day before Christmas. Due to this position I was placed in, I decided I was going to take someone with me, someone very dear to him, his wife. Now I gave her fair warning. I told her, since it was the eve of Christmas, what I was going to do to her, and I gave her time to fix it. If only she had listened. It was before Christmas Eve, and I gave her fair warning. I told her, it would depend on yourself what kind of Christmas you would be spending. I guess I pushed her a little too hard, however. I expected she would have enough influence to change her husband about what kind of man I was. Perhaps I underestimated her power in the marriage. I never expected her to get as desperate as she did, just to get out of telling her husband the truth. And to think, when I was young, Torvald and I were once friends. I don't know what I've done to go about making him treat me this way. That Torvald, though, he made sure I had a very Merry Christmas. I even got my gift a day early. My dismissal letter was the gift. Of all the low-life people I've known. If I had any mind left, I'd have run away from home. Most of us think like that at first. I did too. But I hadn't the courage. So I stayed to make sure that Torvald would hear me. Hear the truth finally. Just to spare my name from the whole situation. I made sure of doing so by leaving a letter in his mail. That way, when he would come to learn it, there would be no way of stopping him. Miss Lind, of all people, convinced me to do that. That sweet girl. I was wrong to suspect Nora of hiring someone like Miss Lind to work against me. Best of all, Christine and I can finally start off from where we left off so long ago, since we've met again. Finally, it seems my life is beginning to turn around despite all this bad news. I get to be with her once more, and maybe something will be doing good for me in this world.
My name is Christine Lynn. What am I doing here? Well, that's a long story. I guess I'll start from the beginning. I just visited an old childhood friend of mine. Her name is Nora Helmer. I hadn't spoken to her in nearly 10 years, and I thought it was time for a visit. So I decided to surprise her. I was hoping she wouldn't notice how much I've changed as I become paler and thinner. This is probably due to being upset over my husband's death. To my surprise, however, she hasn't changed at all. Dairy Castle. She seems to be stuck with the simple mind of a child. I tried to carry a conversation with her, but she kept reverting back to her life. She also did not hesitate to tell me how good her life is. The subject of my husband's death came up in the conversation a few times. She was sorry she didn't contact me when she heard the news 3 years ago. She asked how much money he had left me and wondered if I had any children. When I told her he didn't leave me any of these things, she couldn't understand how I was not miserable in life. I told her that he had not left me with an ounce of grief. Of course, our conversation drifted back to her. I learned that she has 3 children, and due to her husband's new position at the bank, money is not an issue for them. However, her life hasn't always been easy. Her husband had to work 2 jobs, and when he became ill, Nora had to take money from her sick father and leave him in his time of need. I can understand her for wanting to be with her family, though. I've had to work many jobs to support my family after my husband's death. I had to work for enough money to support my mother and 2 brothers. However, now I feel slightly empty. My mother passed and my brothers are grown, so now I have no one to work for. In fact, one of the reasons I came to visit Nora was because I was looking for a job in town. Uggs. While talking to Nora, I ran into an old friend, Krogstad. Actually, I once had a relationship with him. Nora told me Krogstad left a letter in her husband's mailbox. Apparently, Krogstad loaned money to Nora, and Nora forged his signature. She made a promise not to tell anyone so her husband wouldn't get in trouble. I went to meet with Krogstad, as we had a great deal to talk about. I told him how I used to love him, but I had to marry my husband because he had more money to support my family. However, I told him I still have feelings for him and wish for us to rekindle our relationship. During the conversation, I reminded him about the letter, but ultimately he decided it wouldn't be bad for Torvald to discover the truth about Nora. Victoria's Secret. Krogstad left, and I went in search of Nora. I spoke to her when she and Torvald came back from their dance. I advised her that she must confess everything to her husband. She refused, so I reminded her of the letter in the mailbox, and I left. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch Nora and Torvald's encounter unfold. I hope Nora took my advice and confessed to Torvald. I honestly believe it will cause less turmoil if she comes clean. Sadly, I don't think her lifestyle will drastically change anytime soon, and she will continue through life with no problems. I hope me and Krogstad can live a happy life. He included the forged signature that Nora wrote in the letter. Hopefully this causes peace in our lives and theirs, and we can all go on with no conflict. Well, I have to get going as I'm meeting Krogstad.